Hi, everybody. Welcome to Writing for Day 2. I hope that everybody enjoyed learning a little bit more about kangaroos than you already knew. And remember, this week we're writing an informational paragraph. It'll have a topic sentence, it'll have 3 facts and details, and it'll have a conclusion sentence. All right. We looked yesterday at some examples of good informational paragraphs about lions and birds, and the third one was about honeybees. This is also a detail about how each part is broken down. So, topic sentence is your main idea, it explains what the paragraph is going to be about. A fact and a detail, a fact and a detail, a fact and a detail, and then a conclusion. I had you draw a mind map on your paper yesterday, and I had you fill in one of the topic sentences. The topic sentences are always the most difficult thing to do. I gave you a choice of 6. I also said you could come up with your own as long as it introduces your reader to what you're talking about. Now, the next thing I told you to do yesterday was that you were supposed to go through these articles, these short passages, and you were looking at information about where they live. All right, so what I do is I get a blank piece of paper, or I can use my mind map, either one. I like to sketch it out on a blank piece of paper and then transfer it to my mind map in a complete sentence. Some people like to just put where they live, and then when they write their paper, they create sentences out of just one word right there. So if you're a paper person like me, what I do is I put up at the top, I say notes. All right, you're going to see me writing, and it's a little bit difficult. I have a touch screen. I talk about what my subject is, which is kangaroos. Okay. I know I'm at the front of a paper because my holes are on the left, and my margin, I have one margin here, I have one margin here. I'm writing between it. The big area at the top is usually where a title goes. My holes are right here on the left, okay? Now what I do is out here in this margin, I put live because I want to remember that I'm writing about where they live. I go to my article like I told you to do yesterday. This is kind of difficult because I can't do 2 things. It's going to erase this right here. All right? And so, but I need to show my article. So let me go over here and see if I can get into the articles right here and do it a different way. Okay, so I listened to the article and I found out, like you should have yesterday, that kangaroos are native to Australia. They live in Australia, but that wasn't enough. So I had to keep going and I had to listen to this. And again, I found that they live in Australia. I learned this right here, right in here. Kangaroos live in Australia in grasslands and deserts. So then I go to the next articles and I found out that they live in Australia, and I found out that they live part-time in the desert, part-time in the grasslands. They come out mostly during the night or the evening because it's cooler. So I learned all of that. All right. So then I would go back to my notes. And I would write Australia. All right. And I would put a capital letter. And sorry if this is kind of scary looking because I have to write it with a pen. And I write right up next to the margin. Now, I know that they live in grasslands now. Okay. So I'm going to fill this in. And I know they live in deserts. Deserts. Okay. I know they live in deserts. All right. So they live in Australia. They live in grasslands. They live in deserts. And I also know that they come out mostly in the evening and at night. Not as much as, all night long, but in the early night. Okay. And that's because it's cool and it's really hot there. So that's why they do that. So that's my notes on where they live. Now, if you want to stop the video and you want to copy me, that's okay. So you can do that and then join back in. All right, so if you stop the video and did my notes, you know they live in Australia, you know they live in grasslands, and you know they live in deserts. At that point, what I do is I flip back over to my mind map, which is right here, and I write 2 sentences about that. So I might say, first, kangaroos live in Australia. They live in the grasslands and the deserts in Australia. That would be perfect right there. Okay. Or I could just write Australia, grasslands, and desert. And then when I'm writing my paper, I can turn it into it. So it's your choice. The topic, sentence, and the conclusion I always write, but this is not usually enough room. So that's why I do it on paper. And sometimes I even take this right here and I write my sentences. So I say right here, I start writing and I write my 2 sentences right there. That way I don't have to do it in here in the middle of the mind map, but it's up to you. But now we know that. Now your job today, okay, is to make sure you've got 2 sentences written somewhere. Do you have them written in here, or do you have them written on some notes where you're ready to write your paper? So first, kangaroos are found all over Australia. That's a beautiful sentence. They live in the grasslands and the deserts in Australia. And then if you really are a higher writer, you could say in the deserts, they come out in the evening and night because it's cooler. Actually, it's both grasslands and deserts. They come out at night, the evening time and the nighttime. All right. So now your job today is to go back to the articles, and you may want to listen to them again. And today, what you're going to do is you're going to take notes on diet. Herbivore, omnivore, carnivore. What kinds of foods do they eat, if you can find it? And then the third thing is once you've listened to all these articles, what is something that is really, really interesting that you want to share with them? Maybe you want your third paragraph, or not your third paragraph, but your third interesting fact to be all about their size. Okay. So there's information right here on their size. There's information, all in here about their size. All right. And maybe that's what you want to do right here. Or maybe you want to talk about how they live in groups or something. Or you want to talk about how high they could jump right in there. This is your option. All right. So what I do is I go back to my notes right here. And right in here, I say diet. Okay. So if you want to stop it and set your notes up, I say diet. And then I go omnivore, herbivore, carnivore. And then I list some of the foods they eat so that I can make 2 really good sentences about that. Then pretend my paper goes down. Okay. On the next piece of paper out in here, I would put fact. And I would figure out, do I want to talk about how high they jump and how, why they're able to jump like that. But that's what you're doing today. You're finding the diet and you're finding your third interesting fact. And I think I'm going to do my third interesting fact about how high they can jump or how far they can jump and maybe how much they weigh. Okay. So maybe I'm going to do that. Or I might talk about their babies and I might talk about their pouch. That would be a very interesting fact right there. So we would have where they live, what they eat, and then whatever you choose to do right there that's interesting. What they look like, how far they jump, how high they jump, how they're a marsupial and they have a pouch. You would have heard that yesterday. That would be really cool. Okay. So that's your job. So get to it. Listen to those articles again, and I will See you tomorrow, or talk to you tomorrow.